Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every podcast, and Ryan has just laughed at me when I said this, it's purely selfish reason why I film this podcast, because I get to speak to the people that inspire me the most. And today I'm absolutely honoured to be joined by Ryan Harland. How are you, my lovely?
Hi, Amy. Thank you for having me. I'm really well, thank you.
Good. So you are an author. Yes, which we are celebrating. I know we're celebrating a little bit. And a motivational speaker, aren't you?
I am, yes.
And I always, whenever I interview people that impact other people in the way that you do, I always know there's a big reason why behind it. What is your big why to what you do now for people?
Basically, it started when I wrote the book. Originally, I was just writing my journey of childhood and the trauma that I faced to share my story to the certain individuals who were friends with the perpetrator of mine and my brother's childhood.
Right.
But it's kind of just grown from there. Obviously, as soon as I'd done that and had it published, I was just getting people come to me and said, "Oh, you need to spread this out even further." So I have, and here I am. And now I love going and talking to people and share my story and trying to give them as much positivity as I can. I don't like to make it all doom and gloom, and that I like to leave them with they can walk away with some hope and some inspiration of some kind, just to make their lives look a bit better and feel a bit better in themselves, I guess.
Yeah. You see, I always think people, if you read something or hear somebody talk and it's a similar thing that you've been through yourself and you can resonate, I think you have that special connection with people because you automatically understand. I suppose that's what the book did for you as well, didn't it? It kind of brought people to you that went, oh my God, I feel the same.
Yeah. I've had a few people come to me and said that I've been through similar situations and that, and they said that they always felt that they was the only ones in this world who went through things like that. So to know someone else has gone through similar situations and come out the other side and be a positive person makes them feel like they can do the same as well. Gives them a little bit of hope.
Yes. Yeah. I love that because I often think that sometimes, you can go through therapy, and therapy works for a lot of people as well. But I think there's a big difference to therapy to actually talking to somebody who's been through something similar.
Oh, definitely. I've always been a firm believer of the best counsellors you could have in this world are ones who have been through situations and trauma themselves, because they can understand it more than professionals. And I'm not knocking professionals, they do a great job. But for me personally, I feel like if you can talk to someone who exactly knows how you're feeling, you're going to get a better connection, better understanding, and you're going to accept 100% everything they're saying, because you know that they know.
They know, yeah, they've not just read it in a textbook.
Yeah.
They've experienced it because you went through a bit of journey with mental health, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I've been in and out of therapists and counsellors most of my life, and it wasn't until 2017 when I got diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, and that was hard getting that diagnosis, because for years they just put it down as anger issues and depression and things like that. But when I got that diagnosis, it kind of opened up my eyes to who I was, and I found out who I was, to be honest. Apart from the
Yeah.
trauma I've been through, I found Ryan, the 100% Ryan, for the first time in my life, and I felt like I actually belonged somewhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the kind of start of the new me, I guess.
Yeah, because I suppose when you talk about anger and depression and everything, you don't really know what's going on. So I suppose you were just like chasing your own arse, really, like, and not understanding anything of why you were feeling like that.
Yeah, the thing is, I found with counsellors, a lot of times, because you only get like 10 to 12 sessions, by the time you'll get into that nitty gritty part where you're actually scratching the surface, the sessions end and you're back in the real world. Then you have to go 6 months, then you have to see another counsellor and start all over again. And all the doctors ever want to do is just give me antidepressants and just send me on my way. And okay, that helps a little bit, but it doesn't help.
Yeah, it's like, it's not finding a solution, is it, really?
No.
I think, and people can get stuck in that trap, and then sometimes you just feel like there's no hope.
Oh God, yeah. The amount of times I wanted to give up over the years, I just felt alone because none of my friends or anyone that I knew felt anything similar to me. Not even with the same trauma and that, just with issues and depression and things like that. I don't know if it was because I was so open with it. I don't know, but I just felt so alone. So I just thought sometimes, why am I bothering? Why am I even trying to make a change or be a different person when no one really wants to help or give a crap? And yeah, it was hard going for a long time.
Yeah. So how many years would you say it was from like when you started to have problems to when you was diagnosed?
Oh God, in 2017, I just turned 40, and I think from about 11, 12, I started having issues at home with me anger and things like that. So it was a long time.
Oh, blimey.
Mm.
So what kind of effects like did that have on your life in like relationships and things? Because that could not have been easy.
Oh no, I've had so many relationships in the past, and I've kind of my mental health has always ruined them. I guess I always felt like I didn't deserve this person, so I used to do stupid stuff that ruined it because it's just I think I got attached too quickly because all that like a new beginning thing of any relationship, it's all lovey-dovey, it's a wonderful
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
it kind of took my mind off anything that was going on in my life. So as soon as that started dwindling, I just thought, oh well, they thought that loved me, so I'll go and ruin it, or I'll end that and go and find someone else. I just couldn't keep a relationship down for many years.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a repetitive cycle.
Mm.
But I suppose, when you're in that, you don't notice what you're doing neither, like, or why you're doing it.
No, it's weird. I didn't even know that it was wrong. Obviously, doing stupid stuff like sleeping behind my partner's back or things like that. Yes, I knew that was wrong, but I just couldn't help it. It was just, I'm not making excuses because I know I shouldn't have done it, but that's the only way I knew to kind of
Yeah, yeah.
get recognition and be accepted in the world by being in a relationship. So as soon as
Yeah,
it
yeah.
started like having problems with that, I'd run. It's
Yeah.
crazy, and I hurt loads of people, loads of people, and I can't apologise enough. But
Yeah. So what led to the diagnosis then? Was it a new doctor? Was it you kind of putting your foot down and saying what's going on here? How did that come about? Because it's not easy when you've spent that many years like bouncing back and forward to somebody going,
um, it was quite lucky in respects. I was living at my mum's at the time because I was married previously, kids and that all went tits up. So I was living with my mum, and she had enough of my mood swings and things like that. So she rung one of the local hospitals because she knew there was a mental health team there, and just said, "Look, can someone see my boy?" So they agreed to see me, and when they was talking to me and that's when they diagnosed me. Said, "Look, we think you've got this BPD,
right?
and we do a talking group therapy sessions. Would you be interested?" I was like, "Well, I'll give it a go."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was it. That was the start of the new me, I guess.
Right. Okay. So I've heard, because it's borderline personality disorder, is that right? So
Yeah.
what's the kind of symptoms of that? How does it show up in people?
I think it's every emotion I feel is 100%. And
Right, okay.
so if I'm happy, I'm bouncing off the walls, I'm jumping for joy and that. But if I'm miserable or low, I'm like suicidal. If I'm angry, I'm really pissed off. And I go to 0 to 100 within seconds, any
Right.
emotion. And little triggers to other people will be massive to me as well. So I see things out of proportion and that. And they think that because it's trauma based and they found out everything I've been through as a child and things like that, they said it could just kind of make sense, And when they told me about this borderline personality disorder, I remember I'd done the worst thing you could do was Google it
Oh
afterwards.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
We all do
but
it.
but it was no opener for me because I was like reading it. I was like ticking all the boxes, like, yep, that's me. And it was just a light bulb goes off in your head. You think, well, yeah, this is me. Perhaps this is what I've been missing. I know having a label isn't for everyone and that, but I think I needed that label just to say that this is you, Ryan. This is
To understand who you are.
Yeah, to accept myself, not expecting everyone else all the time, accept myself. That was a big thing I had to learn to do, to accept and love myself for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. I said that's a pretty big moment because it's like a bit of a light bulb moment where you can go, oh my God, yeah, that I've done that. That explains why I've done that.
Mm.
So once you know and you've recognised it and you've got this diagnosis, what happened then? It's like, did you have to work on like managing your emotions, or did you have to go back and like deal with the trauma? How did they work you through that?
I kind of had to start back at the beginning, just learn how to control myself and how I looked at the world. They had this an analogy at the group. What was it? It was like we've been given all the tools, but not shown how to use them in life. Say, if you had to dig a hole, normally everyone else you use a spade and that, we'd use, I don't know, a knife or simple things like that. We kind of had to go back and just kind of learn how to look at things differently and break down everything. We had this continuum we had to do. If we had an episode, we had to write down what happened, then step back to see if we can see the triggers so you can learn from them, so you can notice things more before they
Yeah.
happen, which was hard because obviously like I was 40 at the time, so I had a long time to go back and try and search through. So it was a 6-month course the first time, group therapy, and then I was accepted onto the second course. That was a year-long course as well, and yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. I was lucky to get on that, to be honest. Not everyone's that lucky.
Yeah. That's amazing. So do you have to still work at that now? Because I think we all have to kind of do that to a certain extent, in life. Life's very stressful at the end of the day, isn't it? This modern world's very hectic. So I think a lot of us can perceive things in a different way. But I suppose for you, you have to be more aware of it.
Oh, definitely. I've had to share everything with all my loved ones now, my friends and family, and that, to see if they can watch out for the triggers and things like that to help me along. And I'll still have my bad days. Who doesn't have bad days?
Exactly.
We're
Yeah,
only
we all do.
human. And I don't beat myself up about having them like I used to do, because I kind of accept it now. They don't last as long, and touch wood, they don't happen that frequently. But yeah, I will always have to keep working on myself. I don't think that will ever stop.
Yeah.
I think the
But
more I can talk about it,
Yeah,
It might make it
absolutely.
easier for me. I don't know.
I think so. And I think like everybody needs to carry on working on the self, because like I say, the world's very hectic. You know, we're constantly bombarded with shit, and if we don't check in with ourselves, I think it's easy for any of us to kind of wander off in a little stress bubble or angry or things like that. So I'm really impressed that, because you have to be more aware, that you actually stick into it, because it's not easy, is it, to keep checking how you're emotionally reacting every day.
It's
Yeah.
bloody tiring. It really is, But luckily, in some respects, my wife now, she can notice things before I can. She can see the look of my face and that. And I think I've got a normal face at certain points. So she can say, "You feeling all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, your face is doing this." I'm like, "Is it?" So it kind of makes me think, "Oh, is there something there?" So I kind of stop it before it happens a lot of
Yeah.
time. But sometimes it does slip through the net and I go 0 to 100 just like that. And yeah, but
Yeah.
no one's perfect.
No one is. No one is. Everybody's capable of doing that. Now, interestingly, you said about spotting your triggers. Did any triggers come up that you didn't expect? Because a lot of people, when I talk to them about stress, they'll be like, "Oh no, that doesn't trigger me. That doesn't trigger me." But actually, it does. So, did you get any surprising ones come up that?
Not really. Nothing I can think of. Mostly it's just stress related.
Yeah.
And I've got a terrible thing of being late for anything. So if I feel like I'm running late or someone's driving slow in front of me and that kind of like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So it's mostly every day going to work and coming home from work,
Yeah, but
really.
the
But
roads are extremely busy. I don't know about you, but there's roadworks everywhere around here at the minute.
oh
So
yeah, there is here. So that is a bad one for me. And the pressure that kind of everyone has to deal with in everyday life, like bills and things like that, I went through a long time of really struggling to pay bills and that because I couldn't face them. So I just left them, kind of hid.
yeah.
So I think that was another one. Instead of facing up to things, I just bottled it up.
Yeah.
And but yeah, but I guess mostly just stress and things like that, really. Nothing surprising, nothing I can think of. I'll have to have a think about that one and come
Yeah,
back
have a
to
think
you.
about that one. So, as well, have you had to change any of your lifestyle? Like, obviously, you said stress is a big one. So, have you had to work on like wellness for you, like mindfulness and sleeping well and exercising and things like that?
I don't exercise as much as I used to now. I did run 3 London marathons a few years ago.
Oh, wow.
Not at once. That was one every year. I'm not that good. I guess my sleeping pattern's a lot better now. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's because of my age. I seem to go to bed normally earlier and earlier. Um, I think just taking myself out of situations that I never used to. If I know that something's going to trigger me, I take myself out of that situation before it happens. So I
Yeah.
guess well-being is just in ways of just knowing what certain things I can and can't do and recognise that and accepting it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just I don't know, sleeping. I guess, like I said, I
Do you know
love
what?
my sleep now.
Sleeping. Do you know what? You're probably sleeping better because your emotions are managed better. Because
Yeah,
if we're stressed, we struggle to sleep. But that's like twofold, because if you sleep better, you deal with things better.
yeah,
So sleep, I'm always like on my soapbox about people sleeping and the job that I do. Like, it's so important. So I'm glad to know that you're going to bed early, and it's not
yeah.
because getting old. Because I go to bed early and I'm not that old.
Well, normally I'm in bed now because I'll start work at 4 o'clock in the morning. So you're lucky that I'm still awake.
Oh my God, blimey, that's impressive. No, I'm not up, so I'm up at 5:30. I'm not too far behind you, but yeah. So you diagnosed. So what year did you write the book?
I wrote the book in 2019, so it was just finished my courses on my BPD, and I was writing at the same time. I had a ghostwriter come round my house once a month and just recording me talking, and yeah, that was how it started, and it got published on my birthday in 2019. Yeah, July the 11th. So it was a nice birthday present. Yeah.
Yeah. So where did the idea of going, right, I'm gonna write a book, I want to release a book?
It's something that I wanted to do a few years before. There was a big loss in my family in 2007. I lost my brother at the age of 33. So originally I was just going to write it about him,
Right.
about what he went through and things like that, because he will and always will be my hero. Do you know what I mean? What he went through and that is just, yeah, you wouldn't wish it on anyone and that. And he still had a smile on his face and things like that, you know, and he's my inspiration moving forward. So I was going to write it about him. Then I poo-pooed the idea because I was going through shit from that and other stuff, and obviously my first marriage ending and things like that. Then I guess when I started, just before I started my treatment, I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do something for me, because it was loads of where I used to live on. Have you ever heard of the Isle of Sheppey in Kent?
Yes. Yeah.
That's where I was born and lived up until 3 years ago for my whole life. So
Right.
it's kind of a small community, and they knew, a lot of people knew about the perpetrator and that, and he had a lot of friends and stuck up for him and that. So when I started writing it properly, I was just, like I said at the beginning of this, I was doing it to prove to them that this is the person you thought he wasn't that person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my inspiration again, but it's just kind of changed since then. It's become more about helping others and proving people wrong, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you was writing with this ghostwriter, your book, was it a bit of therapy for you along the way? Because you normally find that but you know, it like helped you as well as helping others.
Yeah, it kind of closed a few doors on things that I'd never truly dealt with properly.
Yeah.
And obviously doing that, and plus my counts at the same time, I don't think it could have been timed any better.
Yeah,
You know,
that makes
it was,
sense.
don't get me wrong, it was hard going talking about things that I'd kind of buried deep down for a long time and that, and I had to open some old wounds. And plus I was living with mum's at the time, so she was hearing stuff firsthand when I was
And
talking to
yeah,
this ghostwriter. So it was hard doing it in front of her, but she got through it, bless her. But yeah, definitely therapeutic, and I can't recommend it enough. Doesn't mean that you got to go and get a book published, that, but to just sit there and get someone to record you talking, doesn't have to make sense.
yeah.
Man, it was knackering, but wow, powerful, and it changed a lot. It closed a few doors, and it gave me the control to take some of the negativity and kind of say, right, that's you dealt with there. You're not
Yeah.
coming forward with me now, but I've got the power to choose when I talk about it and not talk about it and things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. And you released the book, and all these people said, I've been through the same. So was that a scary moment? Because I can imagine on one hand it feels like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I can help somebody and somebody can resonate, but also it's quite sad at the same time that other people have been through that and are feeling the same. So it's a bit bittersweet, isn't it?
Yeah, I think my first reaction when people said that to me, I just wanted to give them a hug.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for them for
Yeah.
going through that shit. But glad that they open up to me, because sometimes I'm guessing that I might have been the first person they ever said about it.
Yeah.
So it's a hard and weird feeling to explain. It's sad but empowering at the same time, I should say, because I think that, you know, if you can say stuff to me, you might have the courage now to go and do something about it, I guess, if you can, or I know, actually start dealing with the pain and suffering, you know, close them doors yourself.
Yeah. That's it, because like you said, you had to go back when you was talking about it, it brought up old wounds. And I think what can sometimes happen is you can kind of almost force yourself to believe that it's happened, but I'm fine and it's not affecting me. But there's that moment of actually when it's like a light bulb moment when you realise that actually you've not shut the door on it. And that's quite a scary moment as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I still get them moments now and again, not that often, but yeah, it still hits me sometimes. But I know that I'm stronger than any of that now, so I just put them down as bad days, and I can just think, right, okay, well, we can write today off, but tomorrow I'm going to be back to better than what I was today, and just think, right, well, I've dealt with this before, I can deal with it again. And you kind of just not get used to it, but it becomes second-hand nature. You think, well, you know, I'm going to always have these bad moments and things coming up. You think, oh, perhaps I didn't deal with that properly when I thought I had, so I just know that I can go and shut that door even firmer this time, actually put a padlock on that door so it doesn't happen again. Yeah. Sorry, I do babble on.
No, I love people that babble on. Makes my job a lot easier. So then you got into motivational speaking. So writing a book's one thing. Actually standing up in front of a group of people is actually quite scary at the best of times, let alone if you're talking about something personal. So how did that come about?
Someone asked me to do it. Because I've done a few podcasts and that on there, and someone said, oh, would you come and talk at our club? And the first thing I thought of, fuck. Like, shit, you know, it's easy writing it down or getting it on paper because someone else can read it in their own time and things like that. But the euphoria I had afterwards, after doing it for the first time, and the comments I had, I just thought, do you know what? This is another tool that I could use to get my story out there to help other people, more people, just to understand what goes on behind people's closed doors. You know, even if they haven't been through anything like what I've been, they might know someone who has.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of turn it around and say, well, I haven't been through anything like that, but perhaps if I went through something smaller years ago, but perhaps I can look at that, you know, you can kind of use it in any way, I guess.
Yeah. So you kind of got into that more, didn't you? Because I've seen you on LinkedIn around a few places speaking. So I suppose the word spreads as well. Once you do a couple, it's like other people go, oh, okay, we'll have Ryan here. So I salute you, because I know it's not easy talking in front of people. So did you get the bit where you're going, oh, I'm going to stutter, I'm going to forget what I need to say, and just all that?
Yeah.
Let alone the stuff that you've got to say, you've got that on top.
The first time I did it, I had it all written down. I wrote it out myself and that, and I stood there reading it like that so no one could see me. And I'm thinking, no, this ain't right. This feels like it's scripted, even though it's not scripted. It's my story. So I kind of try and do it all off the cuff now, which isn't great with someone like me, because my mind goes like, and that's why I get ghostwriting, because obviously to put it all in order. So it's it's hard to get things in the right order still, but I'm getting there. I just don't do it enough to feel comfortable doing it. The last one I'd done was a few months ago. That was up at prison, and I haven't had any since. And I've just redone it, my speech again, because it's always been about just my story. And I thought, okay, it's a powerful story, but I need to give them something to walk away with, give a bit of hope or positivity. So I've kind of just redone that. I've got another one booked for the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to doing that one, but nervous at the same time. I don't know. I'm just talking crap again.
Do you know what? I always say, if you're nervous, it's because you care. So I'm more worried about if you're going, yeah, I'm not really bothered about it. Like, I'm not really worried or anxious or anything. I'd be more worried if you'd said that.
Oh, right. So it's okay that I'll shit myself before then, is it?
Absolutely. It's because you care.
Sweet.
You want to
not literally. I promise you, not literally.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. I guess you're right, because I'm very passionate about this. It's crazy. I've never really been a passionate person, apart from football and that when I was a kid, and school I was completely useless. But since I'm doing this, I felt like I've found where I belong, and this is what I want to do, and I just want to strive for everything I can and get my story out there in as many ways as possible. I've even looked into getting a documentary made. I'm in talks with someone at the moment. I'm going to have to fund it myself. It'll only be like a 30-minute documentary, but it's just another way of getting it out there and, see what comes of it. Hollywood, here I come. No.
I love that. Aim big. Go big or go home, right? I love that saying.
Yeah.
So did you say you'd done a talk in a prison?
I've done a couple in a prison on the island.
Yeah.
That was it was in the open prison with the inmates and that, and it's weird that listen to some of their stories, and I'm not taking away that they're there for a reason because they've done bad things and things like that, but just listen to some of them, you think, well, if you had someone good on your side or someone to hear you, or you had a bit of more treatment, you might not have ended up in a place like this, because a lot of them had similar stories to mine. And it just opened up my eyes thinking, wow, if things were different, that person wouldn't be here. I'm not taking away from them, because obviously they went down the wrong road, they got into crime, drugs, whatever. They're there to serve their sentence. I haven't got a problem with that. But it just makes you think, wow, if things were different for that person, they wouldn't be in there, and for that person, they wouldn't be there if they had that someone to talk to, or role model, or someone who could take them under their wing. Someone who was there for them. It's crazy.
And you look at it that way as well, though. But you could have ended up going down that road.
Oh, I was lucky that I didn't.
Yeah.
I really was. I wasn't into crime or anything like that, but I was drinking, drugs, sleeping around. Anything could have happened if I hadn't had my mum. People say, "Oh, you're a mama's boy." Yes, I am, and I'm proud of it.
I love that, because my son's going to be 20 next month, and he says the same.
Good. It's my mum. Well, obviously, we're close, obviously, because she lost her first born, and I'm the only one that's left in that. But yeah, if it wasn't for her, I would have been in completely worse shape. I think. I don't think I'd be here now. I probably would have ended up inside or something. I don't know. So I'm lucky in that respects, and that's what made me kind of empathise more with the prisoners.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that person. And
yeah, and you went in with no judgment as well, because you just went in as a blank canvas and spoke to them. There's no judgment on your part. Do you think, looking back now, you mentioned the drink and the drugs and the affairs and that, was that your way of coping with trauma that you thought you'd got over but hadn't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't use an excuse.
I completely understand. Do you know what? It's my big thing is I would love schools to teach children how to overcome challenges, because what I think, like, I'm 43, I was never taught how to get over shit. I, like you said earlier, we don't have the tools.
No.
But so I'm a big believer that in schools, you know, schools are very much like, you've got to do well, and at 16 you leave, and then it's like close the door and whatever, like, good luck. But actually, life's not all about doing well all the time, is it? It's about facing challenges, because everybody has challenges, and I think you are not alone when you've dealt with things with drink, drugs, affairs. I hear it all the time. And it's because we're not taught, like I say, I'm not excusing it in anybody at all, but I think if we are taught how to deal with emotions, get over challenges and setbacks, then we'd have tools in place already.
It's weird that at the time I was doing these things, I didn't give a crap about anyone or anyone's feelings. I didn't have no guilt in that. But later on in life, that's when all the guilt hit me.
Yes.
I was thinking, shit, what did I do? Why did I hurt that person? Why did I hurt that person? I had a bad reputation. I loads of women on the island saying, oh, you don't want to go with him because he's been with this one, that one, this one, that one. He went behind her back with her and he done this to that one. And it was hard to get over that, But like I said, and like you said, and I'm not excusing the fact, I'm not making excuses. Oh, well, that's okay. I done them things because I was abused and things like the trauma. Oh, I can get away with it. No, I don't. And I wish I did do things differently.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of that is, if I had done things differently, would I be the person I am today?
Exactly. I was just about to say that. Yeah.
Apart from hurting people, I wish I could take that bit away.
Yeah.
But anything else, I think it just made me who I am now, and to love life, respect life, and want to be there to help others and share my story in that. I wouldn't change a thing, if that makes sense. Even the abuse and things like that. That's just weird, but
you know what? I love that, because I was going to say to you, it's an odd question, but would you change anything? But you just said you wouldn't, and that's really good, because that means that you've made not peace with it, but you can look back and go, right, well, this has come from it and this has come from it. You wouldn't have been able to write a book with none of that happening.
No, I'd be a boring, I don't know, lorry driver. So I'm not saying lorry drivers are boring, anything like that. But you know what I mean? I just would have, obviously I don't know what life I would have had, to be honest. It's crazy.
Right. Okay. So you want to do your documentary. We have to let me know when we start filming that. What else does Ryan want to do?
Win the lottery.
we all. Do you even play the lottery? Because I would say that, but I don't even buy a ticket.
Yeah, no, we don't. Me and the wife said the other day, said, oh, it'd be nice if we won the lottery. Yeah, should we do it? Maybe. I don't know, anything. There's so much. Sorry, I just heard rain. It's bloody pissing down now. Obviously, do the documentary, do as many talks as I can, start a merchandise brand. I did have one before, but that hasn't worked out, so I might be starting another one. Just anything, any way I can get my story out there to anyone else,
I love that.
It.
Possibly a second book, maybe?
Never say never.
Nah.
I don't know. I did say a few years ago I would, but I keep thinking, what would I put in it? I mean, obviously, I can put all this in it. Obviously, talking to you. Obviously, make sure whole chapter on you.
Oh well, thank you. I deserve that. Right?
No, that's the third book. I don't know. I've got so much I want to do in my head, but I can't say if it's possible, because anything's possible. It's just if it's the right time and the right atmosphere and the right people, then anything, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, if like there's somebody that's like listening to this podcast now and is thinking, right, what's my next step? What would your advice be to anybody who's at that point where you were, where you felt like just alone with all this crap?
First of all, please don't give up on yourself, because you're worth more alive than you are not alive.
Yeah.
Reach out to anyone you feel you can trust, friend, family, and that. Just get that first initial offload to make that pressure a little bit easier, so you feel a bit more freer and feel a bit more like you can go to the next step. Reach out to any mental health team you can, because I know they do get a slate in the NHS and mental health teams and that, but if you get the right one, they do a cracking job. They really do. And stop beating yourself up on anything. You know, live for today, because tomorrow's not guaranteed for anyone, is it? Do you know what I mean? You know,
No.
anything can happen. And believe that it doesn't matter how old you are or what you've been through, you can turn it around and make a change if that's what you want to do. If you really want to be a different person, then you can do it and you will do it. You know, you just got to start believing in yourself.
Yeah, that's it. And I think a lot of people that have been through abuse blame themselves as well. And I think that, you know, they must have done something wrong, or, you know, I think that's a big thing for people. Interestingly enough, though, you are not the first person that has said to me about that you didn't divulge it to parents. I'll ask you, because the others didn't. I didn't ask the others, but is that because of disappointing them or feeling embarrassed, or because a lot of children that go through abuse, is their parents or the family tend to be the last ones to know? Why is that?
It's a bit of a difficult question to answer, because obviously the person abusers was the same person abusing my brother between the ages of 5 and 15, and that was in the book. I name as a sperm donor. You can
Right.
guess, father.
Right. Okay. So it was in the family. Yeah.
And my mum and him had split up when I was 11. Mine didn't happen until I was. This is where I get wrong, because in the book I thought I was 19, but I had a chance to read one of my police reports a little while ago, and obviously this is going back to 2007,
right,
when I put the report in, me and my brother did, and I thought I was 16, 17. So it's between 16, 17, 18, 19
yeah,
is when it happened. So I was a lot older, but I guess the reason why I didn't say anything, because I felt like no one would believe me, especially in my circumstance. Who would believe that would do anything like that to their kids?
Yeah.
And because my mum had such a bad opinion of him, because he was a monster, you know, regardless of what he done to me and brother, he done other stuff as well. And I just felt dirty and ashamed, I guess, and I just wanted to think, if I didn't talk about it, then it would have happened. It never happened.
Yeah.
But that was the wrong thing to do. That was the wrong thing to do.
I don't think you're alone on that. Like I said, the amount of people I speak to,
Yeah.
they're all saying the same. Like, saying it out loud suddenly makes everything real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was in the right frame of mind back then. You know, even though I was late teenager and that, but I was still a little kid.
Yeah.
Inside. Does that make sense?
And I think as well, I mean, well, you can answer this, but it's like, you know, when it's somebody that is so close, there must have been a massive element of shock with that, because you would never expect that to happen? I mean, how do you
I
even
thought it was my
process?
fault. I thought it was my fault. I thought I must have asked for it in some way.
Right. That's so sad.
Mm.
That is so
And
sad.
and I beat myself up for years because obviously at that time, because I'm 6'4", so back then I was about 6 foot, and so I was quite tall. So I was taller than him, but whenever I was around him, I was always a little kid because I knew stuff about him growing up anyway, and he's violentness to my mum and things like that. So we was always learned from a young age to do whatever he wanted to keep the peace.
Yeah.
This is when mum and him lived together. So it was second nature just to lay there and take it, because you just thought, well, if I don't do that, then I'm going to get kicked shit out of, or mum would get crap, next time he sees her or something like that. So it's just, yeah, you just become this little child again.
Yeah.
And I think that's where that little child was inside me, screaming out for years and years and years, but I didn't know how to deal with it. So I just run away from that little child. Yeah, I'm rambling on again, but
No, I love it, and you know what? It's so sad, and I think the way that you tell your journey as well, I can absolutely see why people just head towards you and just say thank you for writing that book and things like that, because it is no abuse is easy to talk about, but when it comes from a family member that a society holds like a stereotype as they're the provider, they're there to look after, for a child or teenager, that is one hell of a mindset fuck up, because you know, I mean, I know like your mum said he was a monster and things like that, but at the end of the day, like he was still like your dad. So that's one hell of a thing to process, mate. So I'm not surprised.
yeah, because the way I look at it, he was supposed to protect us from
Yeah,
things like that happening,
yeah.
not actually do it themselves. And for me, it was just a once, but for my brother, between the age of 5 and 15, because Kev would have been 15 when mum and him split up. So obviously that's when it stopped for him. I was
So
just thinking,
was he your younger brother?
no, he was my elder brother.
Older, right? Okay, so right,
Yeah, Kev was, yeah. He was 4 years older than me. And
right.
I didn't know about him until I come out and spoke about it for the first time. He dealt with it his own way as well. It's
Do you know what
crazy.
that must have been a hell of a moment as well when you both realised.
Yeah, it was a strange phone call because he'd moved up to London when he was 18. He came out as gay, not a problem. I loved him regardless of that. He went up there, changed his scenery, changed his life, hit the drugs and things like that, scene, and using his body in sexual ways to get that gratification, I guess, similar to me, but none of us knew that. And it was a weird conversation. I first told my ex-wife to be, because I thought, if I'm going to marry this woman, spend the rest of my life with her, obviously it didn't work out that way, but at that time I thought, right, I'm going to tell her. Then I had a conversation to tell my mum, and she said, oh, you better ring Kev. And as I was telling him on the phone, he's telling me about him and his words to me, which always breaks my heart. I let it happen to me so he didn't get you. And I was just like, fuck. I thought, wow, but shit, I've let him down. He's gone through all that for nothing. He's still got me. And yeah, it was a hard conversation. But, Kev didn't want anything done about it because he moved on. And that, so that was 2003. It was another 4 years later until we decided to do stuff. But obviously that's in the book, the reasons why.
Yeah.
Things happened and taken out of our hands that, I say things were taken out of hands that we kind of had to ignore Kev's choices and kind of just pursue trying to get some justice.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't give too much away because we want people to buy the
No.
book. All right.
No. Or watch the documentary or the film.
Or the film,
or
yeah. And you know what? It's like I say, from all that shit that you went through, you've managed to turn it into doing something that impacts other people in a good way. So I salute you, because I know it's not easy for you to stand up there in a room full of people and share your journey. So big high five to you, mate. Right, last question that I get everybody to answer. It's the hardest one you'll have.
I'm ready.
Ryan, tell me 3 good things about yourself.
3 good things. I love myself for the first time in my life.
Yes.
I'm so happy with my life now. I've met the most wonderful woman who loves me for me, and she's my biggest supporter. I've got the best mum. I'm on the best journey now.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see what the future holds for me.
I love that. So if anybody wants to, what is your book called, by the way?
Called Riding the Storm. It's available on Amazon.
Riding the Storm. I'll put the links in the description of the podcast as well. And if anybody wants to reach out for you, where can they find you on social media?
I've got 2 pages on Facebook. I've got my normal page, Ryan Harland, or I've got a Riding the Storm page.
Yeah.
Follow. I'm on Instagram or LinkedIn. Obviously, that's where we met.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a shout and see what I can do to help you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for being such an amazing guest. I feel like I need to let you go to bed now, Bid, that you've been up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I need a
You'll be
fag.
cursing me in the morning. So anybody that wants to reach out to Ryan, I highly recommend it. He's such an inspiration. So thank you, my lovely.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.